This video is a video on how to do a transmission service on a McLaren 570S. We're going to do the clutch fluid first, and then a separate video we're going to do the transmission. Most of them are the same. I've looked at McLaren's instructions on the 12C, the 650, the 570, and the 675, and they're all very similar except for the panels you have to remove are slightly different model to model. Not sure about a 720, but I would assume the 720 uses a similar transmission, probably just beefed up a little. The 600 LT has the same transmission. First thing you have to do is remove the diffuser. You're not going to be able to do this, even the clutch fluid, without the diffuser removed. One of the reasons is you're going to have to drop the rear sway bar or roll bar down to be able to get to the bolts in the filter for the clutch fluid. This is the clutch fluid filter. This is the transmission filter. Because this sits up against there, you can't get some of the bolts out and you can't drop the filter out. So it's basically just removing two brackets and letting this hang down. Also makes it easier to get to the transmission filter. There are two drain plugs on all these Ricardo transmissions. This is drain plug number 1, called out in the instructions. This is drain plug number 2. The fill is up at the top, which you can't see, but you can get in there this way. It's right up here. We're talking about an 8mm Allen socket. Same thing for the transmission. This is the fill, this is the drain. 8mm Allen socket will do it. Don't start thinking these are drain bolts. These are actually bolts that hold the transmission together. We're going to do the transmission in a separate video. Let's see, what else? We've already drained the fluid. We've already replaced the filter, the McLaren filter. This one happens to be a paper filter. This one's a stainless steel filter. I'll take a picture of it later, post it. I have a picture of this filter. The cap has an O-ring. It's a very tight fit. You should replace it. There's also some little grooves here on either end to kind of pry and get it started so you can get this cap off. This comes down. There's a fair amount of fluid that comes out. There is a drain plug here where you could drain the housing. It has some pretty severe Loctite in there. We chose not to take this out and just pop the cap and drain it down. One of the things I did is I bought a container at Lowe's. It's a couple of dollars. It's throwaway because I wanted to see how much fluid actually came out. It calls for 7 liters. As you can see, even with the filter, we're just about 7 liters. This has a 6-liter mark, and if you look at the next one up, it's almost 7 liters. I'm sure a little bit was lost that spilled over the side. So that's what we did. We'll have the same thing for the transmission when we drain it. We've got a throwaway container from, I bought them at Lowe's. They're just a couple of dollars each. This vehicle has about 9,000 miles on it. And because I'm the second owner, I decided I wanted to service everything. So I've already done the brakes. We flushed the brake system with SRF. We replaced the pads with Paget pads. It went in December for its 2-year service. So it had its service done, oil changed, everything checked over to validate the warranty for another year. And so the last thing I wanted to do was service the transmission and the clutch just to make sure that everything was okay. Fluid looks fine. I don't think the original owner abused the car. It came from Arizona. It's going to be a track car. This is actually a track pack car. It has a Larini catback exhaust on it that's been ceramic coated and wrapped with header wrap. Now I didn't do this, the original owner did. We've also installed some aftermarket carbon fiber tips. These are Akrapovic knockoffs, which have actually held up pretty good. So the fluid you have to use is a special fluid for the clutch. I bought it from Amazon. I got 8 liters of it just in case. We're also going to post the instructions later. I'll make a PDF file on how to do this. So that's the fluid. It says it takes 7. I bought 8 off Amazon. It's about $25 a liter. I have a power fill from Motive that I use on all my cars. We use it for transmission differentials. You can either pressurize it with an air compressor or pump it up like a sprayer. So we'll put the clutch fluid in here and use this to fill. We'll make it much easier. You could do it from the top, and I would suggest that you really need a lift to do this. You might be able to do it on jack stands on a garage floor, but it would be tough. But you could actually remove the top cover and get you a long funnel with a hose, which you can buy at any of the auto parts stores. And you could actually fill it from here until it overflows. So basically that's it. We're going to do the transmission next. The transmission's fairly simple. Open this up so you have vent. Open this up and drain, and we'll use a bucket to catch and see how much is in there. Then you'd come over here, remove that one bolt. There's a stainless steel filter in there that comes out. Replace it with a new one. Because it's stainless steel, you could probably clean it. We'll see what it looks like when it comes out, but I'll actually post a picture of the new filter before it goes in. So that's basically it. Just wanted to let everybody know what the procedure is. I actually have the McLaren pages from their service manual. I'll make a PDF file and post that later. This is the final fill on the clutch fluid for the dual clutch transmission. So I'll post the actual service manual so you can see the process you go through several times: filling, draining, 2,000 RPM to fill the clutch sump and go. So this is the last fill. It's a liter. What I use is this Motive device that you pressurize with air or pump. It makes life a whole lot easier. I use it for transmissions, differentials, anything I do. It's probably worth getting one if you're going to change your own fluid. You could fill from the top with a funnel and a long tube, but this makes life a whole lot easier. Plus, I have a bucket underneath, so when it actually overflows, you'll see it coming out. Just draining the clutch compartment took about 7 liters, and that's what the service manual says it should take for the clutch. But when we pull the filter, there was a lot of fluid in there. It took it up to almost 8 liters, not quite 8. So let me shut this off now. That was the end of the container. So I think the service manual, when they talk about 7 liters for the clutch sump, they're not taking into account the filter, because the filter's not mentioned in that. The filter's a separate section. But they don't tell you how much it's going to take to change the clutch filter. So anyway, 8 liters are going back in. That's pretty much full. I'll check this overflow in just a minute. So transmission's next. That'll be a separate video. So we're going to button this up. I need to leave the roll bar sway bar down so I can get to the filter for the transmission. And once I do that, you can put it back up. So hope this helps. I'll post the instructions on the clutch in a PDF document here shortly once I get the video done. Bye.